we're actually just coming out of about 5 months of being separated. So after, close to 7 years, we just had a huge life change.
I don't think I can. I was so insecure that like if I stood my ground, I didn't think I was good enough or worthy enough to like have those boundaries, have those hard questions, and you would stick around.
Just, it has to be intentional. Like, we have to like remind each other sometimes too, like even like the chaos can kind of happen, and sometimes it really just takes kind of pulling each other aside for a minute and just being like,
is there anything from your past that you've handled poorly that has negatively affected your relationship? What is it, and how have you handled it differently?
wow.
Where do you start?
I know. I would say so welcome to episode 1 of the new podcast we're starting. This is take 2, technically. We tried this last week, and I forgot to hit record on the audio.
So we would have like had to be really good mouth readers to know what we were saying, or you would have just skipped over it. So
It was gonna sound like crap because it was just playing. You could have heard it like through I could hear some of it through the camera audio, but not good.
yeah,
So yeah.
be better.
So just gonna kind of give just a quick introduction of who we are and it's being all weird and stuff.
Sorry, that was hanging down weird.
Adjust this then. There we go. Looking good? Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Better but not good.
No, that's better.
I just want to give a quick introduction of who we are and kind of like what this podcast is going to be about and whatnot. But my name's Taylor.
And I'm Becky.
And we've been married for 7 years this last November.
Yep.
And we have 4 kids. So we got a 2-year-old, a 6-year-old that is ours together.
Yeah.
And then we have a 10-year-old and 11-year-old that's mine from a previous marriage,
Yep.
but ours as a collective.
Yes.
Really what this podcast is going to be focused on is just our life in general, talking about parenting, marriage, just entrepreneurship.
I feel like I have to sneeze. I'm sorry.
Oh, let it out.
It's gone.
Let it go.
Let it blow.
And so, this podcast is really going to be focused on just kind of like the everyday life of struggles we walk through as a married couple, as
Blended
families, as parents, and all those kinds of things. But also, I feel like we're always working on different projects.
Yeah. So right now, as we speak, I have a sourdough loaf working. So I love to do sourdough, I love to garden, I love plants. There's a bunch of like propagating plants. We're going to be doing a plant wall in a couple weeks, so we'd love to take you with us because it's going to be fun to see how they started off, and then 6 months later, how's it going, and it's like a live art piece. So, and then also gardening outside. We're thinking about chickens and a lot of DIY stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of fun things, a lot of real things, which we're excited about.
And like this is basically going to be the introduction to the YouTube channel. So on the YouTube channel, we're going to have like DIY videos. Some of it's going to be like us figuring it out and us making the mistakes so that you don't have to. But also, I feel like we're always working on just random things. We have like random facts and knowledge that we would love to give some tips on and all that kind of stuff.
And music.
Mm-hmm. We're starting to write some music, work on some music. So there's a lot that's going to be on here. Really, we wanted to kind of just document just the kind of like just us doing life together.
Yeah.
We're kind of on a new season of life. It's kind of like 2.0 life.
Why is that?
For those of you who don't know, or if you know us and don't know, or if you've never heard of us, we're actually just coming out of about 5 months of being separated. Mm-hmm. So after, close to 7 years, we just had a a huge life change that we will get into on one of these episodes where we can focus more on
later.
But just like we went through about 5 months of being separate, living in separate households, just doing that life. And there was a lot of things that needed to change and happen to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's still a lot of healing happening for sure, and it's going to continue to happen. But you know, we're coming in like we're stronger than I'd probably say we ever have been.
Yeah. And that's like fake sneeze got me.
She's ready to cry.
No, I'm not. No. But like, just first and foremost, that's all because of Jesus, truly, because of God, and life change happens. So we wouldn't be here without that, without him. So there's a lot of change, a lot of things, and we'll again go into that later because that deserves probably a series if we're gonna be honest.
And it's so true, like just giving all glory to him, because they're just one, like she just said, was like we wouldn't be here without him. Obviously that's, you know, we want to give that glory, but also just the daily like learning of how to trust him more is going to be a topic inside of this whole podcast, is like giving him glory for all the big things and the small things. You know, just there's a lot of things where we can see like God was in the midst of this, and some of the hardest days and nights he was like right there and pulled us through. In the most uncertain times he pulled us through. And then there's just the random things, like I won't get into the story, but I recently got a guitar that I feel like God was literally right in the middle of that whole situation, and we see him in how to, you know, it's just random things that we do at the same exact time, like the same exact thought or the same exact whatever. It
happens a lot. So
and just being in tune with him and being in tune with his spirit is something that is a daily journey, and we just love to kind of talk about it because it's fun. Yeah,
it is really fun.
So what I felt like this week would be good for episode 1 to kind of kick off is just some Q&A. Like we had some friends and family that just had some questions that they'd love to hear our perspective on. So we've got a list. We probably won't even get through all of them. There's like 10. We have a few others that are sending some in, but they didn't get to it before this week. So. And one of them, he sent an audio message, so I couldn't. But first thing is we haven't even read any of these questions. So this is just our initial reaction. So we'll just kind of go back and forth asking the questions.
And both answering the questions.
Exactly.
So, jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Q&A, part 1.
Is there anything from your past that you've handled poorly that has negatively affected your relationship? What is it, and how have you handled it differently?
Wow.
Where do you start?
I know. I would say, without going into what the whole other episode's going to be about, is literally, I've handled priorities very poorly on what is valuable, and which ended up being time with you, making time for you, for the family. That's something that I really prioritized work on top of everything. I was building a business, you know, that we started in 2018, and I poured so much into that, and then we kind of came across another business that we were running, and you helped run that for a while, and I was very worldly minded in just how I thought, and I was like, let's build. You know, we'll sleep later. We'll get time together later. And slowly that just disintegrated our relationship in a lot of ways. So I would say my biggest thing that is really prioritizing everything backwards, and not having Jesus in the center of like my goals and plans. that would be, there's a whole story behind all of it, but that would be where it started.
For me, I didn't speak up a lot, and I would stir on things a lot. So if I had an issue with you, I would think of the very exact perfect way to talk to you about it. Mm-hmm. I would talk to other people about it, like trusted sources. Sometimes I would talk to like anybody who'd listen, but then I narrowed it down. Mm-hmm. And I, would talk to them openly about it. And they're like, why don't you just say that? I'm like, I don't think I can. I was so insecure that like if I stood my ground, I didn't think I was good enough or worthy enough to like have those boundaries, have those hard questions, and you would stick around. Mm-hmm. And so now I just ask outright and blunt because I know my worth and I know that I have, I don't want to say a lot to offer, but like, I just know that I'm worthy of that respect and that, mm-hmm. That partner who's gonna listen and take in the hard questions. And so, yeah, I don't hold back any punches, but it's not like a malice punch. Right. It's like I don't know, like hey, bud. I don't know how to like.
I mean, it's one of those things that because you wouldn't bring things up and I was hard to approach, like it just kept stacking and it kept like, there was no good communication.
No.
So like, I didn't receive communication well. I was go and didn't give you much time to communicate. I also was like, I drank whiskey like all the time too. So it was like, I was never in like a good mindset to approach. And then I would like, when all of a sudden she would approach it, because it was like the last straw type of like, I have to talk about it now, then there's so much pent up in you. And then I take it as you just telling me I'm a horrible human being. And
then you would proceed to then tell all the things that you didn't like about me, which like in turn turned the conversation on where it not needed to go. And then I would just shut down. I'm like, okay, this is why I don't want to talk to you about anything. Okay, I think that's good for now. Second question.
Yeah. Okay. When it comes to marriage, what was the one thing that told you that they were the one?
I feel like that was from your mom.
Nope.
Oh.
All these are going to remain anonymous, but fine. I do know who they are.
Okay.
I know my answer. Okay.
Knew that you were the one. It's tough because I feel like we rushed into things very quickly, mm-hmm. like almost kind of like manic quickly, if that makes any sense. Just like, everything's great, you're perfect, oh my gosh, this is amazing, wow. And I think, man, I guess it doesn't say like the first thing, but the one thing. I think one of the one things is like how great of a dad you are. And like you're very present, even in the midst of your priorities. I mean, I know there were some nights, some things, but like overall, a very good dad. And one thing that you've worked on a lot too is you're very thoughtful. So, I mean, that's a big thing, is like when we would have those moments of, in the beginning, in the middle, and even now, like you can anticipate the needs of me and I can anticipate the needs of you. And so it's just like there's a natural flow, and we think a lot alike. But we also think very differently too.
Yeah.
So I think those are kind of the initial things. I'm like, but I also don't think, I don't want this to come out weird, but like, if you're single, there's the one, there's not like a one single person, like, but you can choose to spend your life with this one person. So I just want that to be
Yeah.
You know,
mine literally kind of started tapping into mine is like, I don't think obviously God has the one.
Yeah.
And so there was nothing that was like, oh, that says you are the one.
Yeah.
But I chose for you to be the one.
Yeah.
And so once that's the, like, tapping into that, what you just finished with was, but once you choose that you're the one, like, I choose you forever. Like, I choose that you're going to be the one forever, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I would say, like, I just really, and this is something that just rings true now, even through everything, like, you're just very, you're very like, I'm forgetting the right words now that I'm trying to say this. You have like an optimistic spirit, like, you know, you don't, you're not like a real negative person, even though you have, like, we all have like seasons we go through of feeling negative.
Oh yeah.
Being negative.
I had that season.
But typically I can bring something to you, and like, you love to explore ideas, you love to dream, you love to, you know, just think through like what we could do to improve our life, what we could do to, like, around the house, you know, like, you're really into like, you know, not being complacent with like, this is just life. You know? I don't know what the right word is for any of that, but just like, you really, and I'm the same way in
You are
a lot of that.
very much the same way.
Finding a match in that sometimes can be difficult, I would assume, is finding somebody who also is like, yeah, let's keep growing, let's keep going.
Yeah, like on that same level. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, yeah, that's something like how to make our life more efficient, and finding the best way to do things. We're both like that. How do you intentionally prioritize each other in the chaos of raising kids? And that's, I think, one we're still learning. Mm-hmm. We don't know it all.
We don't know it all, but I think one of the things we talk about now is intentionality in, just, it has to be intentional. Like, we have to like remind each other sometimes too, like, even like the chaos can kind of happen, and sometimes it really just takes kind of pulling each other aside for a minute and just being like, you know, because it is tough. Like, we get Tuesdays together.
Yeah.
With no kids, and we have a list of things that we're doing. She's working on sourdough. We've got projects around the house.
Errands to run.
Yeah, but still, something that I think we can keep growing in is just truly intentionally making time for each other without projects.
And without kids, and
yeah.
And without like movies, like.
Yeah.
Because I know it sounds like you've probably heard that a lot. We just gotta spend time with each other, but like, seriously, you need to set that time aside for that. And I had another thought, but I'm trying to remember what it was. Do you have any other thoughts on that? Because it might come back to me.
Yeah, it's just truly like, some of the things like we've gotten better at is because, especially our youngest ones, they're always like, Mom, Dad, hey Mom.
Yeah.
Also Mom, hey Dad. And we've gotten really intentional about like, hey, your dad is talking. Hey, your mom is talking.
Yeah.
Give me a minute, you know. And they are pretty good at waiting, but they have about a billion questions a minute, as any parent could understand. And so just being like, I think in the past it was really easy for our attention to just come off of each other and go towards the kids.
Yeah.
Or for me, or you, like. Our phones could pull us apart, like social media or that kind of stuff. Or I needed something for work, like my business partner would text me or somebody on the team, and I would just be like, I got to answer them right now.
Yeah.
So those kind of things, we don't really have those in our lives. Like, we don't do social media anymore. I think we have Facebook. I don't know if you have Instagram, but we don't have it on your phone.
I don't have the app on my phone, and so it's really hard for me to like get into it. Mm-hmm. So I think that helps a lot too, but that's not for everybody.
No.
But, you know, just really eye-to-eye contact and not being, which I can struggle with, but not being so caught up on your phone that you're ignoring the other person, because that's so rude.
Mm-hmm. Phones or projects or kids or whatever it might be.
All right, we got 9 minutes.
What methods do you guys use to communicate everyone's schedules, routines, and life load, so that the life load isn't falling on one person or the other?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. What methods do we use to communicate?
Well, I think joint calendar, like on our phone, that's a huge one. Getting notifications, like if someone adds something, you like know, and checking that. And also, like, I think sitting down and giving each person, like, whether it's an old kid or your spouse or whatever, giving them the job to, you know, like, make that appointment, or like you're in charge of doctor's appointments because you're going to be there. Okay, well then you're in charge of dinners because that, like, and like what naturally fits. If it's a natural thing, then go with it, you know, like definitely ride on those strengths. If you're a person who remembers numbers, if you're a person who remembers, you know, dates really well, then maybe you kind of head up that calendar. But if you're a person who like is really good with like dinners and chores and like delegating that, then ride with that. So that would be my thing.
I mean, that really is, that's good. That's good. I think something we've talked about that we haven't actually put into effect, but we want to, is just having kind of like a weekly check-in at the beginning of the week. That's like, because we want to do like budgeting and just like look through our week together. We just need to make it a priority on like a Sunday or something like that. And sit down and be like, all right, what do we got going on this week? You know, because even though it's in a calendar, sometimes it still sneaks up on you, you know, like it becomes the day of and you look and you're like, oh, today is, you know, and with anything, like I try my best to not let anything affect like kid drop-offs, pickups, that kind of stuff. But occasionally there's something that I need you to pick up kids because I have to be somewhere, but it's pretty rare. But if that is the case, or we need somebody's help, we definitely try to make sure we have all that aligned. But a weekly check-in would definitely help. Yeah,
and making that time sacred. You know, like nothing comes in between that time. Because if we start to like, oh, we'll do it tomorrow, then it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
I like that. I'm trying to see if we need to skip to any, because we got like 5 minutes before we need to truly wrap it. This is a cut to some interlude music, elevator music.
Like a please stand by.
Yeah. Hang in there. A little cat.
Yeah, that'd be cute. But I want a real cat. In a real tree. You know what that movie is?
I feel like I do.
Monsters vs. Aliens.
Oh,
we could cut to that.
Yeah, there you go. So I guess you're the next question. I don't know if like one of those bottom three, kind of the other ones are pretty long.
Someone with a child is thinking about having another baby. What are some things to think about? That's all. Because we're kind of not in that space, but we've been in that space.
I think it's like realizing like your world's about to change. Obviously, like I think a lot of people realize that, but also like you don't know what ways it's going to change because every baby's different. You could be as prepared as possible, and this baby might not sleep as well, or this baby might, you know, like everyone is different. And so I think going into it is just being as mentally prepared for whatever. So like that means your schedule's gonna have to be more flexible. Your life is gonna have to, your mentality, your emotions, like all that stuff is just, you're just going to be flexible and figure out what the new normal is.
Yeah.
Every one of our kids was different. Every single one of them.
That's very true. And like a little side note, I came into his life when the two oldest were only 1.5 and 2.5. So, I mean, that's all they really kind of know. But I think a big thing too is like practical. go on Facebook Marketplace. Like if you say you know don't have anything, like 1 kid, 2 kid, whatever, like Facebook Marketplace is amazing for that. Goodwill. Also, if you do have, you know, a lot of the same things that you use for your first kid and you're moving into your second kid, do a diaper shower. Like where you just pretty much like, if you guys would, instead of giving presents, like give me 5 like size 5 diapers or size 2 diapers or 3s or 1s, like 1, 2, and 3s are like the most used.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that alone, if you have like a surrounding amount of people, say it's at your workplace or your friend group, like that can, I mean, that lasted us for Zion, I think it was like 8 to 10 months. We didn't have to buy a single pair of diapers. And with Rain, it was like around the same. And so that is huge. And then also like spending time, which we could be better about this, is spending like one-on-one time with that said child, like the first child, like, because that second child is gonna require a lot of attention, just like the first. But the difference is the first kid is gonna be like, what gives? What gives, man? I'm it. And you know, like keeping that time and space is really good, which we can be better about for sure. But I think it's harder going from 1 kid to 2 instead of 2 to 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Or 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Which is what we have. We have a boy, girl, just so you know.
Yep.
For context. But don't be scared. You know, like if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna do it? If it's a surprise, like, don't be scared. It's a blessing. Kids are a blessing. Don't think anything different, because the world's going to tell you that you're giving up. I mean, you are giving up a lot, but that carries on your lineage and your life. Like, you can bring up these kids in a way that like can be huge life changers for people in the best way. So
yeah,
it's not easy.
And there's no handbook, like we've heard that there's no handbook to being a parent. And so just use the people around you, ask for help if you can. And I think it's a journey. So
and we're still learning. We don't know everything. So
it's different.
Yep.
Every year is different.
Yeah.
Getting into teenage years here soon. And
Yep. We just yesterday had to talk with our oldest 2 about respect and what it looks like to be disrespectful, which they were to their grandparents. And so screens are gone, like their phones are gone. And that's for a whole week. And they were kind of distraught, but
it's like their world ended.
Yeah, but you know, like that's okay. And one for bedtime, you know, our daughter, she read a book. She fell asleep that way, and then the oldest had music playing. So
yeah.
And I know people falling asleep to TVs is not good. Trust me, we know. But there are people who do it.
Like us.
So.
But
anything else?
I think that's it. I'm excited to keep digging into this with you, and like this is our first time doing a podcast together, right?
Oh yeah,
I did a lot of podcasting, but not sober.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was one time you took like a shot. You guys took like tequila shots beforehand. Like, what are you guys doing? That's so weird.
I know, but you drank 2 at that time, so
but
I was the only one drinking.
No, that's very fair. Yeah, we stopped drinking. Me officially was January 10th, and it is March 4th. So, and he stopped when I stopped. So,
and I stopped whiskey back in September.
Yep.
This is a journey. So just this is episode 1, and if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments.
Yeah.
And we'd love to just kind of keep digging into this. This is going to be good for us, and there's a lot of cool things that I think is coming on the channel. So she's got to go take care of some bread and projects to check off. So I'm going to go spend quality time together on your day off.
Like, we should do the Dwight and Michael.
Is that what they both
raising
do?
the roof. Yeah, that'd be okay.
So, thanks guys.